already tuning in. So we are
Hi,
live
YouTube.
on YouTube and Facebook. So Shelly, what is our topic today?
Today we're going to be talking on religion, spirituality, and
Zodiacs.
zodiac signs or astrology.
So where do you want to start off with this one?
Well, we can start off with religion first because I think all of them tie into each other
in some way or another, right?
In some way or another, because it's all about what you believe in. Because there's people out there who don't believe in any of this stuff that we're about to talk about right now today. They think that none of this has any credibility. It's nothing to them.
True.
So
for you specifically, let's ask you whether you like practice or not. What does like religion mean to you?
Well, I'm not a religious person, and I don't practice any like conventional religion. I'm more of a spiritual person. Like I more so research and pull different beliefs from different religions. Like there's certain things from Hinduism that I believe in. There's certain things from ancient African religions that I believe in. I also look into hoodoo.
You're gonna have to explain to me what that was.
Hoodoo is ancient, like slave black magic.
Yeah.
I look into different religions. I don't take from one set religion because I grew up in a Pentecostal family, and growing up in a church and seeing like church, and then my dad was against the church completely. Like he was a Rastafarian, so it was like I got different views of things. So I questioned a lot of things, and I don't know if you've grown up in a church, but when you have questions, they don't answer them. They just tell you to pray. God has all the answers. He'll give you the answers. They don't want to answer anything. I had a lot of questions about a lot of things that were like doubted, like things in the church that didn't make any sense, honestly. And nobody had any answers. They just really, and then they wrote me off. And finally, I just was like, I can't practice this religion anymore if you just want me to give you money but not answer any questions. I'm not doing
it. You say it like that, like give you money?
Because it's like they were more focused on like you being a member, you getting baptized, you paying your tithes, you doing this, more so than helping you out. Like if you were really in a problem, they would just be like, oh, we're gonna pray on it. But you guys took my money. I can't pray on me getting evicted. I can't pray on these things. Like I have to act on them. So I couldn't stay there. And then there's a lot of corruption inside of churches, which is a big thing too. Like they'll cover for a lot of corruption. Like they'll cover for molesters, they'll cover for child predators. And it's like, I don't want to be a part of something like that. I wouldn't. So that was just my personal thing, to just wander and take on different aspects from different religions. I started off as an agnostic theist person, which means I had no religion. I didn't believe there was any God, but there was like a being there. But I wouldn't say it was like a one set religion like Muslim or anything like that. I just believed that there was something out there, but we can't prove it one way or the other. And then when I started to go through a spiritual journey, I realized that there is something bigger than us out there in the universe, and that not believing that there's nothing there is kind of like foolish, because we didn't just come here out of nowhere. Like we're made out of stardust. So at some point in time, something or someone created this. So.
And I'll tell you like this. What's going on, Erica? And Mitchell said, "Did you say voodoo?"
No, not voodoo. Voodoo. It's black magic. It's more so casting spells, things like that. But it's not something that I formally practice now. It's just more so research purposes for me. I don't practice dark magic. You don't have to worry about me turning anybody into any billy goats or lambs or anything like that. I don't do any of that stuff. I just more so believe that my ancestors speak through me, and a lot of my purpose is through them. And I have to break a lot of generational curses and things like that. So that's why I feel like they speak through me and through my actions. And I wouldn't have went through that spiritual awakening if it wasn't for them. So.
Well, I'll tell you like this. Like in my immediate household, I wouldn't say like religion was like a huge thing. Like, my parents always like spoke about God, but it's just like my parents never made me like immediately go to church or do like any kind of like practice. It's like we used to pray over dinner and stuff like that, but that was about it. And then but like through my extended family, you'll see that like half of my family is Christian and the other half is Muslim. Like but they always come together. And this is one thing that that I see, and I would say sometimes we kind of blame the religion and not so much the purpose. And it was just like, even though for me not like being like I wouldn't say like super religious. It's just that I see what the principles and things of it mean. And when you look at like certain things, whether it's like with any kind of holy text, it's really like a guidebook in a sense. And it's just like when they say you're supposed to follow the Bible, it's just like or the Quran or whatever, it's like a series of scenarios and tells you like how they play out. You know what I mean? So you can kind of like be hip to it and be wise to it and like kind of understand like how maybe you should approach the situation. Like, and I think that's where people like get misconstrued. They focus more so on the actual religion as opposed to what it teaches.
The purpose of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I take from different religions, because there are a lot of examples and things that are incorporated in different religions that are similar and different in different religions, how you handle things, how you do things. Like in Buddhism, you meditate, you chant, you manifest, you do certain things at a certain time.
And this is something that's interesting. If you read into like the Old Testament, like early on, I forgot what it is, but they actually talk about like one of the early people in there, they was actually saying that he was meditating.
Yeah.
Like when you actually like read into the text, and I'm like, it's there, so don't tell me like that, you know, it's not a part of the religion. Like it might not be a part of like the New Testament, but like again, when you look back, it is in there. It is in the Holy Text. So let me ask you this. What do you think is more so the difference between spirituality and religion? And I posted this one up on the Instagram debates, and somebody said, he messaged me, he was like, there is no difference. But I think there is like a clear difference between being like religious and being spiritual. So what would you take?
My take on religion and spirituality, the difference is religion is something formed in a group, where spirituality is within oneself. You are your spiritual being. You are your temple. Whereas your religion, you're getting a group to conform to similar ideas and principles. So that's a religious group. Where spiritual people, they stay themselves. Like they're spiritually in tune with themselves and with their earth, everything.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference to me, because everything else is pretty much similar as far as religion and spirituality. It's just more so like doing it within a group, whereas doing it within yourself. Like when people say they're spiritual or they're practicing spirituality, it's usually self-work. Like they're working on themselves. They have to unlearn karmic lessons. They have to do different things to work on their spirituality to become more spiritually sound and safe. They have to protect their aura. They have to do certain things and rituals and things like that in that sense. Whereas in religion, you have their guidelines of how to do things. It's like a way of life, like for them. Spirituality is just like you can freeform it. Like one day I could wake up and be like, today I'm going to manifest during a full moon. I'm going to write down some notes, burn it in the grass and whatever. Whereas if I'm a part of a religion, if I have a problem, I'm going to go to my pastor. I'm going to go like, it's more so structured, whereas spirituality is not so much structured. It's more freeform.
And I think for me, I think I won't say that's like kind of like, I won't say that it turned me off, but it was just something that I didn't see myself doing, and it just seems like I'm more of a kind of, I want to say, take charge. Like if there's an issue, like I understand like there are certain things that's out of my control that I do have to like, you know, leave up to, you know, the higher being. But it's just like, again, like when you're saying, it seemed like a lot of the sermons are just like, you know, just trusting God and da-da-da. But it's just like, I think what needs to go on more within like the structured religion is more personal responsibility. And, you know, and I tell people like this, like God's not going to act if you don't act. You know what I mean? Like you said, you can't really just sit there and pray on something. It's just like, you really have to like act on something. And another thing that I was saying is just like, I don't think like for me personally, I think people shouldn't pray for like materialization. I think people should pray on like things like strength and understanding and continue patience and things like that. I think if you pray on those things, like not for like, oh, get me out of this situation, like pray for the strength to get through this situation. You know what I mean? Like more so on that. And I just take that like that philosophy, like as far as like religion, in the same aspect that you would deal with a person, of like, don't come to a person with your hands out already. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, it seems like rude, you know? Like,
yeah. In that sense, it's like what you were saying. There was a old analogy that said that when you wait on God, you're not going to get nowhere. There was a guy that was waiting on God and he died. And he was like, they sent him a boat, they sent him a plane. And he was like, no, I'm waiting on God. And he died. And then finally he got to heaven. Yeah. And he said, God, why didn't you come and get me? And he was like, I sent you all these tools. So pray for the tools, not for God himself to come out and help you out of the situation. If that's what you believe in, like, if you're a spiritual person, you manifest. You manifest, and you have to be specific when you manifest. Like, you don't manifest, oh, I want a new car, because you can get a brand new used car. You're not specific. You have to be specific when you manifest. You manifest specific things. Manifest yourself. Be like, I want to be in a better situation where I'm mentally secure and mentally stable and things like that. It's more so of how you do it and how much you believe in it. So that's really it. It's just really basically like for the person, what they believe in, because a lot of the people that I surround myself with now are spiritual people, but I do have some friends who are very religious. And one thing that I've made a point of is that I don't argue about religion and things like that, because that's someone's beliefs. That's me telling you to unlearn something that you were taught. And
that sense, you know better than
it makes me know better than anybody else. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say you're wrong. Like, you know, I did my research. I know what I know. And if you are willing to be receptive of that knowledge, I'm more than happy to give it to you. There are certain people that look at me like I'm crazy because I'm very into astrology. I'm very into numerology. I'm very into spirituality. I will tell you, sage, Palo Santo, everything. If you want to cleanse your home, I have the recipe for it. If you want to do it that way, people will be like, oh no, I don't like the smell of sage. They sell it in a spray bottle on Amazon. That's my route of how to deal with things, like more so earth-based. But that goes into me being an earth sign, me being a Capricorn. I feel like I'm more earth-based. Like, I practice things that are more earth, like of the earth. Like, I like being in the ocean, going through sand, going through the dirt. I like walking barefoot.
So you're like a nature girl. You like going out.
So that's just a part of me. But I had to go through a very rough spiritual transition in order for me to see that. Like I said, growing up in the church, it was crazy because I was really close to the church. Like, that was my family's church. And so for me to go through that, and I'm still close to my family to this day. I don't judge them no way or the other that they practice their religion and I don't. Because at the end of the day, that's what they believe in. That's what's gotten them through life. That's what's gotten them through their crises. That's what's built them. That's how they built their wealth and things like that. So I don't judge them on that. Just, I've been judged because I don't believe in that same thing.
And I think that's what more so needs to happen is just learning to coexist and accept the fact that not everybody believes the same thing. I think that would be one of the big things that, like, and you know what, I'll say it like this, we don't see it as much in our generation. Like, we do have more acceptance of, like, different religions, and like you said, we can all be together in the same room and it not be like an issue. You know what I mean?
We're more tolerant now than I believe other
previous generation.
The other generations were, but that's because that's how they were groomed. We have the internet at our fingertips, so we have more access to certain information that they didn't have. So they were basically taught things on secondhand information. So whatever they learned, if they didn't go out and physically go and retain that information, that's what they knew. That's what was lost. So if I was around you and we were in a group and I told you all Muslim people believe in this and things like that, then you don't know any other Muslim people, and you're not going to ask them like, hey, do you guys do this and that and the other thing? So you would take it as that. Like, I'm trying to think of an example of something that, like the people on the Polynesian Islands. For years, we were taught that they were cannibals, that they were, like these sadistic people that would eat people and things like that. And there hasn't been a recorded event of them eating someone since maybe the early 1950s. But that's just what we know. Like, they're looked at as cannibals, and that's because that's secondhand information. But they don't let people into their circuit either.
You're right about that. So tell me about your personal journey on, like, spirituality.
So my journey started with This is going to sound crazy.
It's
My journey
not
started
crazy.
on Facebook because someone had shared an article about black magic. So I was intrigued and I started looking it up. And I'm a big Weeknd fan. Like, I listen to The Weeknd's music a lot. And a lot of his music videos would incorporate symbolism. And that's something that's I'm really big on. Like, I have a lot of tattoos that are different symbols. Like, this is the Ankh. I have the Ankh. I have the earth symbol on my chest. I have many different symbols. I have the Om symbol on my shoulder. So it was just crazy. The symbols stuck out to me. So in his video, there was a video that had a demon in it. It was like a demon woman, and that's Lilith. And Lilith is a succubus. And that's how that came about. She was a succubus. So I started researching about succubus, like what they do, like succubus, incubus, and basically those are like sleep demons. They work at night, and they're supposed to take your seed. Like they make you have really vivid sexual erotic dreams and suck your seed out of you. So I was really into that, and that's what I started looking into. And then I came upon Buddhism because my aunt practiced Buddhism. And I started researching the principles of that, but I didn't want to commit to that because I didn't feel like that was like something that I could commit to. Like, I understood the principles and values and things like that, but like at that time I was like, no, this is not something I can fully commit to. So then I started looking into Hinduism and the different goddesses and gods and things like that. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, there's a goddess and God for everything. And then my coworker had said, oh, you look like this Indian goddess, because I have a birthmark in the middle of my forehead. And the goddess, she has like 4 hands and a dot in the middle of her forehead. So it went from there. And then I just do a lot of research on different things. Like, I would rather not commit to one thing, just more so just research it. Like I said, I don't downplay God. Like, at the end of the day, like, I've been covered in so many different ways, but I just can't commit to that one religion any longer. Like, but my mom and my family are still devout Christians. I don't judge them. I love them the same.
Exactly.
They talk to me about different things in religion. They pray over stuff. If we have big issues, we go to church. And things like that, but I go there to support them, not because I believe. I just go there for support. Like, I'm not going to be like, no, I'm not going. I don't want to be in there. Like, I go for support and things like that.
And that's that mutual respect that we was talking about. And I'll say for me, I remember mine's kind of like started because I was dating like this hardcore Christian girl, and I asked him, and I mean, like, it was like early on, and I had asked like some dude I went to college with, and he was somebody that I would never really thought would have converted to Christianity. I was just like, yo, should I convert to Christianity? So that actually started me going to, and like I would go to like a lot of the sermons, and it's just like it's like I would say, like, with any teaching, it's just like not every sermon and principle is going to apply to you every time. But the ones that really did, like, it made sense, it's like really some certain things that like I was connecting with. But I think, like you said, the same thing was just something that I couldn't really commit to. So then I started like looking into stuff like the chakras and like meditation, and like I was doing that like heavy, like as far as meditation, and it really was like a sound piece. And they speak on doing nothing, like the power of like absolutely doing nothing. And it's just like, when you think about it, it's just like people think it's like it's easy, and they think like doing nothing is just like, oh, sitting down watching TV, and that's not doing nothing. Doing nothing is like really sitting there with yourself and like
turning off your thoughts. Doing nothing, turning your thoughts off. Do you know how hard it is for you to quiet your mind? It is hard. It is hard. That was one of the things that when I was going through my spiritual journey, I had to master. I read a book that was called oh my gosh, it just went right off my tongue. The 4 Agreements. I read that book during my spiritual transition, and it's basically about the 4 agreements of life. Like, there's 4 things you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be impeccable with your word. I can't remember all of them at this current moment, but it's called the 4 Agreements, and basically it's like the 4 agreements that you live by in life. And one of them is quieting your mind. Like, you have to learn how to quiet your mind, like sit and be quiet, because there's a voice in your head and it argues with itself. And you don't notice it because, you know, you go through it day by day thinking like, oh, okay, this is fine, whatever. And then like you can be sitting there and your mind be like, you know what you did earlier today, that was wrong. And then you're arguing in your mind like, no, I didn't. Like now I got to revisit that thought and things like that. Whereas if you sit there and tell your mind to be quiet and really sit there and not think nothing, like, you will find absolute peace.
Yeah.
So.
And I tell people a lot in that time for me doing that is like really asking yourself the hard questions and answering them, and like being in it was a book that that I read by, I can't even say his name, Thich Nhat Hanh, No Lotus, and it talks about joy and suffering, and it's just like there can't be any joy without suffering, just like there, as far as the lotus, there can't be any lotus without the mud. So and they talk about that, like first and foremost being honest with yourself, because if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't be honest with anybody else. So you really got to look at, it talks about like really looking at yourself in perspective and say, okay, what are some things that I know I struggle with? And like really be honest about that, like to yourself. Even if it's something that you gonna feel bad about, it's just like you gotta address those hard questions, because if you just pass them off, it's just like it's gonna come back later. So I think that's like, it's again, like you said, taking that in, it's something that you're not really going to do unless you take that time to yourself specifically.
Yep.
Like it's not something that you could just really like, it's just like, oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll think about it while I'm with you. No, because throughout the day, your mind is constantly occupied, constantly stimulated with different things, no matter what it is, whether it's the TV, whether you're walking down, you're looking at something, whether you're listening to a song, whether you're reading a book, like your mind is constantly stimulated. And it's important that you do take that time. And he says like, it doesn't even have to be in what's it called? The lotus position. You can just like lay down.
Yeah, you can. There's no set way like to practice no more. Like people always think it's like a set way you have to meditate, a set way you have to do that. No, it's whatever you feel comfortable. And like the way how I meditate is I lay flat.
Yeah.
I lay flat and I quiet my mind. And then sometimes like I quiet everything and then I focus. You have to focus on something. Focus on what you really want. Like what goal, aspiration, and things like that. Focus on that one thing. Like, and it's hard because my mind will be like, oh no, think about this, think about that. But it's focus, because I used to think that I had to sit and like with my hands and do this and that. But you don't have to do that. It's more so what you're comfortable with. Like again, that's what comes down to spirituality, is what you want, what you feel comfortable with practicing. And that's how I found peace in meditating. I used to meditate in my car. That was one thing. Like before I went into like a stressful environment or things like that, I would sit and meditate in my car, turn off the music, turn off everything, roll my windows up and sit in silence and meditate. And I'll take deep breaths and focus on my breathing. And that was one way that you can quiet your mind. Focus on your breathing. You breathe, quiet, you focus. That's like, it's hard for some people, because I used to try to meditate with people and they can't take seriously. It's hard like to sit and really be focused. And meditation, it doesn't take a lot of time. You could meditate within like 5 minutes. 5-10 minutes out of your time.
I'll let you know as a disclaimer, if you never did it before, that's the longest 5 minutes of your life.
Yes, it's really long. But once you get into it, it's like, it's not hard. Like it'll be nothing. It'll be like, all right, I'm gonna meditate before I go to bed. That's the best time. Like, and I for me personally, I meditate when I'm clean. Like when I'm clean, like when I'm showered, clean, pure. That's when I do anything, like any type of thing. Before I sage anywhere, before I do any type of things, I have to be completely clean, because I feel like you cannot. I feel like energy is like,
it's just all
everywhere. So if my energy is dirty, I'm gonna be transmitting dirty energy onto whatever. It's gonna be pointless. Say it like that, though. Because it is. That's how I feel. Like it's true. Like it's like whatever you put out, it's gonna come back. It's like a boomerang. Like that's how I feel. Like with karma, all that stuff. Like energy, all that stuff. We put out energy, and it doesn't just go away. It's neither created nor destroyed. It's just transferred. So if you aren't putting out good energy, I'm not saying like you have to go out and be like this wholesome, positive person all the time, because we're all flawed humans, but just be more conscious of like things to be a good energy person, like to give off good energy and things like that. Like I clean my energy space. If I have visitors, in my home, after they're gone, I cleanse my home. I cleanse my area. Like I cleanse my house. I burn sage throughout the house. If I don't have sage to burn, I burn Palo Santo. If I don't have Palo Santo to burn, I put salt in my doorway to protect myself from people coming in and out. I burn sage, and literally, like, sage is like really like the end all be all.
Powerful.
For me, it's like end all be all, because after I burn sage really like is like a really, it's like a neutralizer. It doesn't prefer good or bad. It's more so like it gets the energy out. So if you're not specific in what you want out, everything will leave. Like I burn sage and then I've lost friendships. I burn sage and then like it's cleansed the air for me, like to where it's like, all right, now it's neutral ground. You set the energy. Whereas Palo Santo is more so like getting negative energy out more so. And these are different types of herbs. Like sage is just really a bundle of like a plant. It's herb. It's a bundled up, and they wrap it with like, what is it? String. They wrap it up with string, and you burn it like that. Or you can burn it in like a little cauldron. Whereas Palo Santo, it comes from a tree in Chile. It's from a holy tree that they go and they pray over, and they go and they pray over the tree, and it's like the holy wood. Like this is like holy wood, and they take it. And they believe like in those times that if you burn this wood, that it'll cleanse all the negative from that area. So that's one of the things that I burn. And then also I'm into crystals, like crystal energy. So it's like a whole little.
Imagine what your room looks like.
I have a shrine. It's like a whole little like world of like different things. Like when I went through the spiritual journey, like I'm telling you, I stumbled upon crystals and crystal energy and things like that. And different crystals are for different chakras, because you were talking about chakras. And they incorporate crystals in Reiki, like in different healings. Like I have selenite. That's for your crown chakra. That's where like you are connected with your spirit, your being. Then you
That's the best self that y'all always talking about. That's what she's talking about. That's the real best self.
So your crown chakra, if your crown chakra is closed or even like partially opened, you are more susceptible to like spiritual conflicts and things like that in the world. Your third eye is more so like your psyche, like your spirit being, you. That's your like your vision. So if that's blocked, you're more susceptible to like kind of like psychosis, like hallucinations and things like that.
I read Wheels of Life on this, and they had you like take a test at the end to like see like, and again like being honest with your answers.
You can't lie on the chakra test, and they have a free one online if you look it up, and it tells you like what chakras, but you have to be honest. You can't lie on those tests because then you won't get an accurate reading. So, you know, my throat chakra was closed where it was, I used to talk a lot. I used to not listen, not retain information. And I used to be like, why am I talking so much? And then finally I was like, let me just see what's going on. And I realized my throat chakra was closed because, you know, I was in that moment wounded by something that I needed. That's my way of like not hearing anything, like numbing myself by just talking out, like projecting. So your chakras, if you don't align them, you will be off balance.
And that's one thing that they talk about. They were saying like if it's not balanced, you can still put yourself in a bad position, because they were saying somebody who's heavy in like the root but low in the crown, it was just like they might have the means, like the physical means to materialize what they want, but they don't really have the mental state or the
will. They don't have the will to do it because they're not going to have the vision. They're not going to have anything, any other, more so than just they could have all of that stuff around them, because your root chakra is your foundation. That's like a tree, like your root. So if you're secured there, but you don't know what to do with yourself, you have no purpose.
It's like having $1 million and not knowing what to do with it, in layman's terms. And they were saying vice versa. If you too heavy in the crown but not in the root, you means you a great idealist, but you don't really have you haven't really secured the means. You haven't really secured the means to make it happen. So it's really about like we said, finding a balance, and that's what pretty much it talks about through anything. It's just like, don't worry about being like too high or too low. It's like more focused about being balanced.
You balance out your chakras. You want all of them to be opened, but not overactive, because you can have an overactive chakra and underactive chakra. Whereas if they're just open, they're balanced. There's no higher or lower. Like For me, now it's more so my third eye is always overactive. But that's, I feel for me is personally because my birthmark is right there, and I've always had like some like inkling of like I feel more connected and drawn to like otherworldly things. That's why I feel like I could never commit to any religion, because I'm so wrapped up in other things like in the world. Like I was a kid that was heavy into ghost hunting. Like I was heavy into like ghosts and things
You
like
was watching Ghost Hunters on Spotify?
Yep. I used to be heavy into ghosts and like the spirit realm and talking to ghosts and things like that. Whereas now I'm like,
did you have a Ouija board?
Yeah, and that was bad. That was bad. I think that was what made me stop messing with the Ouija boards, is because I had messed with the Ouija board with a friend and we were careless with it. We did it like late at night, like just be messing around, like, and we had like a pendulum and we were just like, oh, you know, whatever, messing around. But with that, when we started like doing the research heavy, you can open things that you can't. And me, I can't close them because I'm just a regular person. I don't know how to control those types of things. That's something beyond my control. So we had opened up something that we did not have any control over. Like my little apartment was haunted for a little bit. Like, one day we walked in the house and somebody just walked into the bathroom and slammed the door. I was like, oh, it's my sister. And I was, oh, you know, and I told my mom, I was like, yeah, just put the groceries down. I'm gonna go tell her, help us with the groceries. And I walked and my sister was sound asleep in the bed, knocked out, the bathroom door still closed. I was like, I'm gonna act like that never happened.
We're not going to speak on that.
We just left that alone. I never dealt with it again after that. And then it was like my dog started reacting to it. And then that's when I had to research. That's how I found out about Sage. And that's how I found out about all that, because I had to counteract what I had did, because it was like I opened this portal and I didn't close it. And now it's like, I think there's something in my house. My dog is acting crazy. Doors are slamming. Like,
yeah, my mom used to tell me it was a ghost in the house. Which one? On 1014? You said it was a ghost somewhere.
They follow me everywhere.
Yeah, no, they can. That's the thing about these things. If you don't, they'll attach themselves to you and they follow you everywhere you go.
And I'll tell you that, and it's like for me, and again, it was just something that was like hard for me to grasp, because I don't feel like I've ever had like any real experience with the paranormal, in that aspect, you know, like I feel like it's been, again, like it's been times when I've been favored. Like I felt like, you know, through like I might have done something like unconsciously, like a generous act, and just like it came back to me. I was just like, and it came back in that, but I never felt like I've never been in a position where I felt like I was haunted or, you know, something like that. Like I haven't had any personal experience with it.
Yeah,
so.
I went to a psychic once in Philly and they told me that I had like something attached to me. So I was like, what? And that day was from that Ouija board situation, but they told me that it was from, I knew where it was from, but I wanted to see what the psychic said. And she told me it was from someone touching my mom's belly and putting like that negative energy on me. So when I got pregnant, I was like, nobody touch me. Nobody touch me. I don't want no negative energy on me. But then I realized that my actions really caused that thing. And I had to go and, like I said, do a deep cleansing to get that off of me. But that was something that I had to fight with those things. And then that's what helped opened up all the other avenues of the otherworldly things, like ghosts, the paranormal, spirituality, voodoo, hoodoo, all those things, they're all intertwined in some way, shape, or form. Like they're all intertwined, because if you don't believe in one, the other, then none of it's going to make sense. Like when we're born under a certain star alignment.
Yeah.
Like how, like we do natal charts, like people who strongly believe in astrology, like we don't just go off of, oh, you're a Capricorn because you were born on this day and that day. There's a full chart of like what time you were born in, where where everything was positioned in the sky to when you were born, and that is how you figure out what who a person is, like what their whole personality is. Like you could take pieces from that.
Yeah, I'll tell you like this, like my Zodiac knowledge only goes as far as Yahoo and compatibility match. Oh yeah, and Wishmaller. I was over Poopa's house in Wishmaller. He showed me the book, and so maybe you can tell about us a little bit of my from what y'all told me, from what I remember. May 30th at 1:15 a.m. From what I remember. Well, May 30th from 1:15. I gotta go there.
May 30th at 1:15. I would have to see the star alignment, like really like put in the information to show me where it falls on. But like, I was born at 6:00 in the morning on a Sunday. Yeah. I was born at 6:00 in the morning on a Sunday in 1992 in January. So I fall under the Capricorn Aquarius cusp, which is another part of like astrology. So you have straightforward, like, you know, basic astrology where it's like all the signs, like, you know.
Yeah, you're compatible with this sign.
Yeah, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, you know, all of them, like Aries, Geminis, everybody. That's the basic, like, top coat. Then there's the bottom coat of like, if you're born within these certain 2-3 days before signs or during a sign, you're on what's called a cusp, where you don't get more so of, you're not more so one sign than the other. Like you're like a blended mix of a sign. So it's like, I'm born on January 19th. The next day, if I would have been born the next day, I would have been an Aquarius. Whereas I'm born that day, so I claim Capricorn, but I have some Aquarius traits because according to typical Capricorn standards, I'm supposed to just be a workaholic. I'm supposed to be straightforward, strict. I'm not supposed to have no fun. Like I don't laugh. I just am strict and serious. Whereas Aquarius people, they're thinkers. They're more so like reclusive, aloof, things like that. But they're also doers. They take the initiative to do things and things like that. But they're more so like artistic. Whereas Capricorn people are more so like business minded. Like the ideal job, what like the definition of a Capricorn would be like a CEO or someone like that. And whereas Aquarius would be like more writers, artists, freeform people, like rappers, things like that. And that brings me back to the weekend because he's an artist. So, and he's an Aquarius. And that's why I was like, I'm neither more one than the other, but I more so identify as a Capricorn because that's the sign that I feel more connected to. That's what I grew up knowing. But then when I did my actual natal chart, I'm a Capricorn under a Sagittarius moon. And I have a Capricorn star alignment. So I'm like Capricorn, Aquarius, all these little star alignments, different things. Because there's houses in the natal chart. There's like different houses that you're born under. It's all about where everything was positioned in the sky at the time you're born. Like if you input the information, it'll tell you. And then also there's numerology. And so it's not like one set thing. Like your star sign can't tell you your whole personality. It's like different things because they break down even just the letters of your name. They break it down. They add it all up, then divide it. Then it'll give you your life path number, your soul number, things like that. That goes into numerology. There's like a whole different like field of this where it's like, how much do you want to believe in it? Like it's more so just belief. Like what do you believe in?
Okay. So let me ask you that. Saying all that, why does my sign Gemini get so much rep?
Well, a typical Gemini
crazy.
Geminis don't really make good, you know, they don't really create good publicity for themselves at all. Like we could talk about Kanye. He is like the poster child for, yes, he is. Kanye is a Gemini. We can talk about him.
Kendrick Lamar is a Gemini though.
And Kendrick Lamar is good, but back in the day, Shireen was wilding on him. He spoke about it. So he wasn't always, you know, King Kunta now. He was more so, you know, K-Dot from back in the day. Gemini's like, with them, why y'all get a bad rep is because y'all have the twin. So it's like split personality. So other signs, they're more straightforward. Like, you know, you have the goat, you have the bull, you have the sea animal, all those things like that. Like you have the fish, you have the virgin, you have the scales of balance, you have the archer. So
and then you have
the twin, where twins represent split personality. And it's like, we don't know what side of the Gemini we're getting. Because there's Gemini people you meet at first, they are like sweet. They are everything like you could, everything. They put on this beautiful show for you.
It's not a show though. That's the thing. It's not a show. And I can attest to this. And you're right about the switch. And I tell people this. And I say it as a warning. And I say, just as loving and caring that I can be, and when I get in that mode, I get to a level of cold that you wouldn't expect me to be. And I say, and people's like, they kind of take like, oh yeah, you know, I was like, I'm like, nah, this is serious. Like,
So yeah,
so,
I haven't dealt with a Gemini in a relationship. I've more so dealt with Gemini friends and people like that. Like, so I have no bias towards them because honestly, I get along with Geminis a lot. Yeah, I get along with them, but the switch up is real with them. Like, you guys, woo, it's like, just don't cross a Gemini because you're never gonna forget that. They're never gonna let you live that down. You cross a Gemini, that's it. That's all you're gonna remember is, yeah, you remember when I crossed Tony back in the day? Gemini. But yeah, you guys are like, and that's why you guys get like the most hate. Like, it's between y'all and Leos that get like the most hate from the Zodiac.
What?
And then it's like, and it's like, it goes into like the like, you know, the mutual signs and things like that, where like there's certain people that they don't pay no attention to Capricorn people. Like, when I tell people I'm a Capricorn, they're like, what's that? I'm like, it's a sign in the Zodiac. So, there are people who get a lot of slander, like, you know, because of certain traits that their signs exhibit. Like, all right, let's do Pisces because Mars here. Let's do Pisces. Because, you know, they say Pisces people are very emotional and they're like, they're all over the place. Like, they're more emotional based people. And I've met some solid Pisces people, but I've also met some really, really bad Pisces people. Like, my dad was a Pisces and he was like, you know, really firm with his beliefs, but he was also a very loving person. Like, he was like a lover man. Like, he is like the poster child of what I would want my man to be like, because my dad used to do like all the romantic stuff. Like, he was like a romancer. Like, he used to write my mom letters and buy her flowers on random days, like take her out on dates, things like that. Like, he made sure she had a nice, beautiful wedding, all this stuff like that. Like, he was like the man. He, even after they got married, he was doing all that stuff for her. Like, he never made her once. Like, they're like more so like into love. Like, they believe in like traditional romantic love, but they can't stay nowhere. They're not stable because as soon as they want to love everybody, they don't want to just love one person. They want to love everybody. They serial lovers.
It was like, yeah, I love you.
I love you, but I also love 15 other people. I love everybody. They love to share love, and that's one thing. Like, they love to be loved and they love to give love. So that's why I like Pisces. They're like cool to me. Like, you know, like I get along with them. Like, you know, I give them a little slack. I give them, you know, a little hate here and there. Like, you know, Pisces, you know.
One thing that and this is, I don't want to say it's unintentional for me. When I see it, I don't really see it as which more. But people say that like as Geminis that we're flirty and charmers, and in our defense, it's I want to say it's like a nature thing. Like, we're just like friendly, like, and this is that part of whatchamacallit, because I'll be friendly and sociable, but I still might not consider you as a friend. Like, I will still like and this was like a prime example. One of the guys that I was cool with at the job, I was like went over his house a couple of times like to watch the boxing match, and it was just like, and his girl was just like, oh yeah, you like family now. I'm like, family?
Yeah, that's one thing about y'all Geminis. Y'all are very gung-ho, like who y'all call y'all friends, and like y'all are very strict on like boundaries of certain things. Like, y'all set boundaries of who y'all want in your life and who, you know, who y'all keep at bay, because it's like more so like, again, with y'all split personality, I don't know like who really to trust, like who y'all want to give y'all full trust to.
Exactly.
And it's like y'all not gonna give it to any old body, like at all. Like, I just feel like that's any Gemini that I've come across. They don't trust anybody. Like, they are the most like, they are charismatic because you guys are, you know, are very sociable, but like y'all are one of the most sociable signs, and also one of the most like, you know, y'all get things done. Like, there's a lot of famous Geminis out there because y'all can smooth talk y'all way up to the top. And you guys are very talented people, but it's like, you know, just don't switch up because y'all have that side. Like Kanye, gosh, Kanye is like my prime example for
the poster child.
He's Gemini. The poster child for Geminis because he really was like, when Kanye first came out, we all loved Kanye. We was like, you know, Kanye said George Bush killed black people, and we was like, yes, Kanye, you right, Kanye for president. And then Kanye met with Trump, so it's like we don't know what to expect from Kanye. And then it's like, you know, he could have a secret hidden agenda. He could be working on something. He could be trying to exonerate people and things like that. You know, he might be doing it in a way that benefits Kanye, but you know, that's Kanye.
Now, what do you like as far as Zodiacs? What do you think about like this whole compatibility thing when they talk about like friendships and which because
It
like
depends.
because when I look at it, like they say, well, technically you're supposed to be with a Libra, and like my best friend is like a Libra, but outside of that, I've never dated a Libra ever.
It really depends. Like I said, because those things are based on the straightforward star signs. Like they're like not, they don't incorporate the other small details like the cusp and things like that. Because like I said, a typical Gemini could be compatible with a Libra, but they also cannot be compatible with them, because if you lean more towards the Taurus side or the Cancer side, you might not get along with Libras. You might only see them, they might only be good as your friend, but in a romantic relationship, Libras might get on your nerves, because Libras are materialistic signs. They're one of the more like materialistic, like they like order, balance, and things like that. Like their partner has to be a certain way, they have to be a certain way, they have to have a certain status. So it's like they would get on your nerves if you were a Taurus, like closer to the Taurus side of Gemini, because Taurus is an earth sign, and earth signs, we don't care about material things. We're more so based on like getting things done, like building foundations for ourselves and our families. Like we're more so family oriented. Like we want to like start our families and things like that. Earth sign people, they're more so looking for like long-term like love and relationships. Like we want to do the American dream, have a family, get married, build a house, do all that, have a successful career and things like that. Whereas other signs want to find themselves. They want to incorporate their careers. They want to, you know, be famous. They want to do different things. So it really depends where you're at on that star alignment.
It gets deep, so you got to do your own research on it.
And if you guys want the research, you know, I could do your charts for you. Like it doesn't take that much time. It's probably like, it's just really lengthy because it's a lot to read, but it's not hard, and the information's easily accessible to do your chart reading. You just have to know like really your birthday, the time you were born, and just put your name in it, and that's it. And where you were born, like in what city, because again, it goes by where the star was in the sky, because I could have been born in London and the star alignment could be different than I was in New York. So it really depends on where you were born at to really determine like what personality traits you may or may not have. Because I say that like that because it's like those things aren't set of who you are. It's just more so like a guideline of what, you know, what you could be like or what you may be like and things like that. Whereas when you go into numerology, it's you take your name, that's you as a person, you're taking that, and it'll tell you how many karmic lessons you have in life to learn. Some people don't have any karmic lessons in life to learn. They're here to just, you know, find their purpose. Whereas if you have karmic lessons to learn, you have to sort out things that you have to break, like generational curses that you have to break, and lessons that you have, hard lessons you have to learn before you can get to your top potential being. And it's just a lot to incorporate. Like there was a lot going on in that research when I started into astrology. It was like I learned about star seeds. That was something that came about too, like being a star seed. Like that's people who believe that they weren't born onto this earth. They were put onto this earth. And they were put with a purpose of finding the purpose of helping other people, like to help people. And it's like the starseed thing, that goes deep too. Because like you can be here and not be here. That it's like
what you mean?
Kind of like alien. Like, you know, that's why like when I meditate, I try to have out of body experiences. Like, and that's the hardest to achieve. Would be in that. That's why I think I'm a starseed, because I did it once. Like once I had an out of body experience where like I've completely like been able to meditate fully and then feel myself not like be not in that moment, like in my body. But yeah.
All right. Well,
I think, you know, if you guys want more information about this, you can always hit me up. Like I'm always down to do readings and things like that. Or if you want to know more about your sign and things like that, it's not hard to come across this information. Just let me know. Hit me up anytime on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. So, you know, she'll be tagged in the video as well as on YouTube. We'll have like all her information there. So, yeah. Oh, well, so one thing I do like touch on, since, you know, we got like a little bit more time. Do you think all dreams have meanings? Every dream has a meaning, or?
Yes. It depends, because that you have to interpret the dream. And that boils down to, again, symbolism, which is what I'm really heavy on. You can have a dream about random things, but it's what you actually see, like the certain symbols.
Mhm.
You take that symbol, like, all right, you were at the beach. What was the beach like? Was it calm? Was it stormy? What was there? Like, what did you see? And you take the certain symbols and you interpret them. Like, when I was going through a situation where I had a not trustworthy friend, I had a dream about a wolf, and I had to kill that wolf. And wolf symbolizes like a hidden enemy within a friend. So it's all about what like symbols you take from it. Like, I encourage people to have dream journals, because you can remember your dream in the first thing in the morning, but throughout the day you'll forget all about the whole dream, unless it was like a nightmare where it's very vivid, or unless you have vivid dreams. But write down like the certain symbols that you remember. It may be something insignificant, like a doorknob or something like that, but just when you look it up, it could have a different meaning, like something small, like where you were at. It could be a hospital, anywhere.
Yeah, so I used to be able to like remember a lot of my dreams, but like lately it's just like maybe one every so often. But like I don't know what happened. Like when I was younger, it was just like it's just like that. But now it's just like I'll wake up and it's just like I might remember like the last part. I'm like, oh yeah, I was at the park.
Like I do dream interpretations because that's how I'm able to see things, like see things. Like I have what I say to myself is like visions in my dreams, because I identify as a clairvoyant empath, where it's like I see stuff, like, and I can feel like the stuff that I see. Like I'm able to see it before like it'll happen. Like not exactly, like I can't see the future, but I have an idea of what's going on around me, like with people and things like that, or just in life in general. So I always write down and interpret my dreams, and I used to interpret my dreams for other people, like things like that. So that's something like you would have to be really like interested in that, like really have to remember it to do it interpretation, because you have to remember like little details and things like that, like what color was the door, was it white, was it red, and things like that. And like a lot of people after like they wake up like, yeah, that dream was awesome, you get in the bathroom, brush your teeth, that what did I have a dream about? So that's something like you have to like really like get up, like you don't have to write the whole dream down like detail for detail, just write down like red door, grass, and outside, kind of like piece it together, where you were at, who was talking to you, if you can remember, like, because I know in dreams you can't really like see like certain words or like read things, but you remember the conversations and things like that. Remember like certain words that stuck out to you in there, and just interpret them and take that interpretation for yourself, like, because the symbols themselves all mean something else. You have to piece it together. It's like a puzzle. Like you take the symbols, you interpret the symbol, what that symbol meant. Then you take what that means and you interpret it into a message. It's like encrypting, like decoding like a whole message.
I got you. So again, if you guys want to learn more about this, hit Shelly up. She will do your charts for you.
I'll do charts. I do dream interpretations.
You might have to start charging. You might get a lot of requests.
Charts, dream interpretations. I don't do tarot, so I don't do none of that. Tarot, I don't do any of that. Just dream interpretations and charts and things like that. If you want to know what your sign is, if you want to know exactly what your sign is and things like that, if you're on the cusp and you're curious about what that is, you can always reach out to me. I know a little bit, and I'm not going to say I know the whole thing, but I know a bit of it.
Shelly Belly on Facebook. Clairvoyant.
So if you want to know, just let me know. Like if you ever have like a vision or something that's coming to you that keeps repeating to you, like even repeating numbers. Like if you see repetitive numbers like 11, 11, 2, 2, 3, 3, like those could be spiritual messages like that'll come into you. Like your angels could be trying to talk to you from up above. So
I got you. Yeah. All right, so guys, thank you again for watching Yatta Debates today. Until next time, we had a really good conversation. I will put everything in the description, and we'll get everything set up, and it will be on Anchor. Yatta Debates now is on Anchor and Spotify and all your other favorite podcast listening stations. So we will have that all together. And again, thank you for watching so much today.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye, guys. It's been real.